Welcome to Creepy, the best horror storyteller on YouTube.
Part 1.
It was a dark and stormy night. Rain was pouring down heavily, and thunder was rumbling in the distance. Zoe, a young and aspiring novelist, was sitting at her desk in her small apartment, typing away on her laptop. She was working on her latest thriller, a story about a serial killer who stalks his victims through phone calls. Zoe had always been fascinated by horror stories ever since she was a little girl. She loved to read books and watch movies that made her feel scared and thrilled. She dreamed of becoming a famous author someday, and she was determined to finish her novel before the deadline. She had been working on it for months, and she was almost done. She just needed to write the final chapter, the climax of the story, where the killer reveals his identity and motive to the protagonist, a female detective named Laura. Zoe had already planned out the plot twist in her mind. She knew who the killer was and why he was doing what he was doing. She just needed to put it into words and make it as shocking and terrifying as possible. She typed the first sentence of the chapter. Laura picked up the phone, knowing it was him. She paused and looked at the screen. She felt a surge of excitement and nervousness. She was about to write the most important scene of her story, the one that would make or break her novel. She took a deep breath and continued typing. "Hello, Laura," the voice on the other end said. "I've been waiting for you." She stopped and read what she had written. She frowned. She didn't like it. It sounded too cliché, too predictable. She wanted to surprise her readers, not bore them. She deleted the sentence and tried again. "Hello, Laura," the voice on the other end said. "Do you know who I am?" She shook her head. That was worse. It sounded like a cheesy quiz show. She deleted the sentence and tried again. "Hello, Laura," the voice on the other end said. "Are you ready to die?" She sighed. That was even worse. It sounded like a bad horror movie. She deleted the sentence and tried again. "Hello, Laura," the voice on the other end said. "I have a confession to make." She paused and thought for a moment. That was better. It sounded more intriguing, more mysterious. She decided to keep it and write the next sentence. Laura felt a chill run down her spine. She recognized the voice. It was. She stopped and looked at the screen. She had to choose the killer's identity carefully. It had to be someone who was close to Laura, someone who had a motive to kill her, someone who had access to her phone number, someone who had been hiding in plain sight all along. She thought of all the characters she had introduced in her story and narrowed down the list to a few suspects. She weighed the pros and cons of each one and finally made her decision. She typed the name of the killer. It was. She was about to press the enter key when suddenly her phone rang. She jumped, startled by the loud noise. She looked at her phone, which was lying on her desk next to her laptop. She saw the caller ID. It was an unknown number. She hesitated, wondering who it could be. She didn't know anyone who would call her at this hour, especially on a night like this. She checked the time. It was 11:59 p.m. She decided to ignore it and focus on her writing. She reached for the enter key, but before she could press it, her phone rang again. She felt annoyed and picked up her phone. She was about to decline the call when she noticed something strange. The caller ID had changed. It was no longer an unknown number. It was a name that made her blood run cold. A name that matched the name of the killer she had just typed on her laptop. A name that she had never seen before, except in her own imagination. A name that belonged to a fictional character. A name that read, "Hello, Zoe," the voice on the other end said. "I have a confession to make."
Part 2.
Zoe dropped her phone as if it had burned her hand. She stared at it in disbelief as it lay on her desk, still ringing. She felt a wave of fear and confusion wash over her. How was this possible? How could the caller have the same name as the killer in her story? How could the caller know what she was writing? How could the caller be a fictional character? She looked at her laptop, where the name of the killer was still displayed on the screen. She had not pressed the enter key yet. She had not saved her file yet. She had not shared her story with anyone yet. She was the only one who knew the name of the killer. She was the only one who had created the killer. She felt a cold sweat break out on her forehead. She wondered if she was dreaming or hallucinating or going insane. She pinched herself, hoping to wake up from this nightmare. But nothing happened. She was awake. This was real. She heard the phone ring again. She felt tempted to answer it, to find out who was on the other end, to confront the caller, to demand an explanation. But she also felt terrified to hear the voice again, to face the killer, to learn the truth. She didn't know what to do. She decided to ignore the phone and focus on her laptop. She thought that maybe, if she finished her story, if she wrote the ending, if she killed the killer, the phone would stop ringing. She thought that maybe this was some kind of twisted test, some kind of challenge, some kind of game. She thought that maybe she could win. She reached for the enter key, but before she could press it, the phone rang again. This time, it was louder, more urgent, more menacing. She felt a surge of anger and frustration. She picked up the phone and pressed the answer button. She was about to yell at the caller when she heard the voice say, "Zoe, don't do it." She froze and felt a shiver run down her spine. The voice sounded familiar, but not in a good way. It sounded like someone she knew, but someone she hated. It sounded like someone who had hurt her, but someone who had escaped. It sounded like someone who was dead, but someone who was alive. It sounded like her ex-boyfriend, Ryan. Ryan, who had cheated on her, who had lied to her, who had abused her. Ryan, who had broken her heart, who had ruined her life, who had made her suffer. Ryan, who had died in a car crash, who had been buried in a grave, who had been gone for a year. Ryan, who was the killer in her story. "Ryan?" she whispered in disbelief. "Is that you?" "Yes, Zoe, it's me," the voice said. "I'm sorry, Zoe. I'm so sorry." "Sorry? Sorry for what?" she asked, in a mix of fear and anger. "Sorry for cheating on me? Sorry for lying to me? Sorry for abusing me? Sorry for dying on me? Sorry for haunting me? Sorry for what, Ryan? Sorry for everything, Zoe. Sorry for everything I've done to you. Sorry for everything I'm doing to you. Sorry for everything I'm going to do to you." "What are you talking about, Ryan? What are you doing to me? What are you going to do to me? Zoe, I love you. I've always loved you. I never stopped loving you. Even after I died, I still loved you. I still love you, Zoe. Love me? Love me? You don't love me, Ryan. You never loved me. You don't know what love is. You only know how to hurt me. You only know how to kill me. Zoe, I don't want to hurt you. I don't want to kill you. I want to save you. I want to protect you. I want to be with you. Forever. Save me? Protect me? Be with me? Forever? How, Ryan? How are you going to do that? How are you going to do that when you're dead? Zoe, I'm not dead. I'm alive. I'm alive, Zoe. I'm alive, and I'm here. I'm here with you. I'm here in your apartment. I'm here in your bedroom. I'm here behind you. Zoe felt a cold breath on her neck. She turned around and saw him. Ryan. He was standing behind her, holding a knife. He was smiling, but not in a friendly way. He was smiling, but not in a sane way. He was smiling, but not in a human way. He was smiling in a killer way. Hello, Zoe, he said. I have a confession to make.
Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe for more similar horror stories.